Now then, welcome to yet another version of Dead Men's Sheds and Roadside Free Piles, but I'm going to change the format slightly. It's like we've got a bit of a problem with this that came my way, a little LED hand light, but occasionally it just switches off. So I think rather than just showing you stuff and moving on, I'm going to take them apart but just do very short little clips of what I found. So, you know, each item might take 2 minutes or something like that rather than 20 minutes. So let's just see how we get on. If you like this sort of stuff, please join my Patreon. I think that's the way forward at the moment. I've got some very conscientious and long-lasting Patreon subscribers who just help the channel enormously, but a few more could help, especially as the cost of everything's going up. So anyway, we'll crack on. So just to start with, I've got some 36 volt electric bike batteries here, which will be quite interesting. And I've already harvested some cells out of one of them. Half of them were alright, half weren't. And I get to the point where with these lithium ion cells, if they're down to nothing, I just don't bother, because I know they won't be as reliable as ones that show, say, 2.5 volts or something like that. And quite honestly, they're so common now that it's not worth messing around with the ones that could quite well give you grief. And in amongst, out of that battery, there's this board here. Now, I think Ian will be interested in this board just for the components, and I'll just put a photo in now from my phone. There we are. If you want me to put it in the pile, Ian, there you go. So let's crack on with this. Yeah. So switch it on. Yeah. And it switches off. And bright. So there's something a bit weird. I don't like that flashing red. But there's screws here, so let's undo that and see how we get on. Okay, that's the screws apart. So, interesting that the cable has been pinched there from the battery. Yeah. I'm looking for a duff connection. Right, let's see if we can get this light out of the case. Come on, out you come. Do as you're told. Okay. Ah, right, there's a screw there. Such thin wires there. Right, there's that bulb there. Okay, we're out of the case. Bit of corrosion there. Right. That light is still showing. Can you see that? could quite well be just having bad solder joints just there. I think we just need to reflow the solder on these two connections on the board. That was interesting. I think I'm going to change these wires here. There's definitely something adrift there. Right, I've replaced those wires. So that seems to be all right. Okay, back together, but let's give it a go. There we go. It's lighting. Fixed. Right, we've got some form of tester here. Unfortunately a bit of damp's got in there, but you can just about read it. Number 1 is earth, number 2 is continuity, number 3 is insulation flash test, and number 4 is run leakage. And then you've got a switch here. I think we just need to zoom down a bit. Yeah, can you see how it's but you can just about read it. That switch there is 1.3 kilovolts and 400 volts. Yeah, that is a reset, 10 amp reset. And this here is a, hang on, I'm going to have to get a stronger pair of glasses. What's it? Insulation test. So I don't know anything about these. Anybody who's got any experience with them, love to hear from you. We have a probe here with a point on it, and of course an output and a mains in. Okay, MK Technology, Temple Grafton, Alcester. Yeah, okay. Model MK1500A. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm assuming it could be quite a useful bit of kit, but probably not for me. Right, moving on rapidly. And we'll have a look at these electric bike batteries, but just briefly over there, and I haven't dug into that at all, I've just taken it out of its case, and there's the case. A 24 volt 3 kilowatt Victron inverter. It has a fault, and I think it's the FETs, though you know that's my preliminary investigation. So I'm going to put that back in the case. I've got all the little screws and bolts, and again, if you want that, Ian, just give me a shout and it can go on the express in next spring. Right, so there you go. And let's have a look at these batteries now. So we've got an indicator here, nothing happens. Yeah, now that's a different colour, but you know what I'm like with colours. So do we take this one apart, or do we take this one apart? I don't know. Let's have a look at the label first. There we go. 36 volt, 10 amp hour. The thing is, the one with all the indicators lighting up, I think we'll have that one apart, because it may be that there's an imbalance in the cells and we could catch it early and rebalance them. So there are a series of torque screws underneath, so let's undo those. Right, there weren't torque screws in the end. Posies. Oh right. Hello. So what do we got here? I assume that's the charge wires, because it's in this. It might be lithium iron phosphate, but it might not. Okay, we've got tape on this end. This is very, it reminds me of that Pylon Tech Extra 2000 that I took apart. I'm a bit hesitant to dig into this too much. I mean, it could be just lithium ion batteries in there, in this case, and that just waterproofs it. I'm going to take the other one apart and investigate, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I've got it out the case. Yeah, and this is mighty interesting. Now, let's go on 200. Are we in shot? And yep. Okay, so that's the positive, and this is the negative. 37.3. 37.3. That is the output of the BMS. Okay, and each cell is, can I, 3.6. Let's go down to 20. Each cell is 3.7. So the only fault in this thing really is the indicator, seemingly. I think the thing to do here would be to work out a resistance and then do a drop tester. Yeah. But if you look here, this is mighty interesting. If these cells were bad, yeah, there we got a 36 volt BMS with all the balance wires. Hey, now there's a very interesting thing. Okay, so it looks like that pack's alright. So I could put it back together, and it is lithium ion as opposed to lithium iron phosphate, if you get what I'm talking about. And there's the first one I took apart. That's, I think they're good. Seemingly, the only thing you can do now is create a drop tester just to make sure. Right, on to something else. Okay, this was in the same skip as that tester, which I assume is it a PAT tester or something like this. This is an avometer with some leads. These used to be the beast in their day. Okay. DC ranges, AC ranges. I don't quite like that. Okay. 250,000 milliamps resistance, voltage, 25 volts. Okay, now stay there, do as you're told. There we go. I've got a 12 volt battery here. Yeah, that's the positive. That says DC terminal common, DC and 80 switch ranges, 2500 volts DC, 2500 volts AC. AC and ohms ranges. Let's just stick that over to DC. That's 200. That says AC there. Not quite sure how we use this. Oh, there we go. We got something. And yeah, we're on 14 volts or thereabouts. So the voltage range, yeah, let me zoom in. Okay. Can you see that? Hopefully you can. Yeah. It's about 14 volts. 1, 2, 3, 14 and a bit. Let's just try it with the old digital meter. .4, yes. Okay, so that works. It's a bit cumbersome compared to a digital one, but there you go. Now, I am told that just here, yeah, this is a battery compartment. It's got a bit of corrosion in it. And when I did get this, I took the batteries out. Okay, now where are we? Here we go. One D-type 1.5 volts. That says October 99. Okay, and then one ever ready B. Zoom in. Oh, that was impressive. B121 battery, 15 volts. Yeah, made in Britain for a longer life. That terminal doesn't look very good on that end. Let us just check what the voltages are. I'm going to do it with the digital one. We've got that on 20. Zoom in a bit. Okay, the D-type should be 1 point. Have we got the right? .54 volts. Okay, and that's October 1999. So that's kept its voltage for 25 years. What do you think to that? Hey? I find that really quite bizarre. 25 years and the voltage is still there. I'm assuming that means what I think it means. Yeah. 0%. Is that MG or HG? Anyway, that's quite bizarre as far as I'm concerned. Now for the ever ready 15 volt battery. 12.2. So I'd say that was flat. I still can't get over that. 25 years and it keeps the voltage? Tell me if I'm wrong. Anyway, there you go. So along with this avometer, we've also got the case, which is quite a nice leather case. Yeah. And the strap is still intact. And it was in a skip. And it still works. Apparently the batteries are for when you want to measure resistance and things like that. So we shall put that to one side. Good job of taking the batteries out, because it seems like this was probably leaking a little bit. Right, on with something else. I'm just experimenting with throwing some jugs. This will want burnishing later on. Yeah, and this is the latest one. It's still quite wet, so I'm not about to touch it. But that is 1.2 kilos of clay. I'm sort of starting to like it quite a lot. Tomorrow I'll put a handle on it. Yeah, so there we go. And this is the white clay that I got from Brighton quite a while ago now. I'm just working my way through it. And of course, remember this one? I really like this one. I really like it a lot. There's just something about it. Yeah. What else have we got? And here we've got a biggish old battery charger. And charge between 3 and 12 2-volt cells at 1 to 5 amps. Okay. We have it plugged in. There is a fuse there. I assume that is the mains fuse. Yeah. It's a bit of replaceable wire. And it's come out that screw. Right, okay, let me zoom down if we can. Can you see that the wire is not behind the screw? Yeah. So let us just tuck that behind that screw. Go on then. In you go. Where are we? There we go. So, Zooming out. Okay. Let us test that again. That's better. So now we've got continuity. Yep. Okay, we put that in there like that, and it slides down. Okay, so we might have some mains power now. Can't tell. And we've got, what's that? What does that say? Coarse control, fine control. Okay, let's put it on DC volts. Well, that's on 200, that shows 1.3. That says off, that says on. Okay, switch it off. Check the other fuse. Down we go. Put it on continuity. Continuity is good. Okay, so you stick that up. Okay, other way up. That is not very good. Okay. Okay, we've opened those up. That's better. Right. On DC volts. Oh, there we go. Good. Okay. Let's put it on 200 volts. .26 volts. Very good. 19. 16. That is, isn't that quick? Just investigate. Yeah. So I'm just going to put this negative on the negative of this battery. Okay, and the positive on, let's turn it down a bit. Okay, there we go. We need to find a knob for this. Okay, 5 amp. 1 to 5 amps it says. That's quite a useful power supply, isn't it? Very interesting. That's a keeper. Although, if you've seen the video Owen and myself did, he did mention that I've got 1 or 2 battery chargers. But this is quite a nice one. Just, how do you pronounce that? Is it hay or he? Hay bird. B-E-R-D, bird. Hay bird. Don't know. Yeah, it's one of those great unknowns. Just sort out the connection on the mains fuse and open up the little connectors, yeah, on the DC side, and away we go. Somebody's thrown it away because it didn't work. Right, okay, brilliant. I'm pleased with that. Okay, that's just a small portion of the bits and pieces I picked up. There's a lot of cabling, various bulbs, this and that and the other, boxes of interesting stuff. But of the two, the avometer and this battery charger was by far the best. And then I'm just making a few little tea bowls, drinking vessels. Yeah, just experimenting. Yeah. I've actually trimmed this, so I threw it fairly thick. Yeah, and then I've trimmed it down, and then I'll just, in another day or two, I'll give it a fine sanding and maybe burnish it a bit. But you know, and it's going to shrink a bit more yet, so it's just a small little drinking thing. Right, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about the avometer. Yeah, there was another one in the pile as well, but it didn't have a case. Yeah, why would anybody throw that away? Because they don't care, because it means nothing, because their husband died and they're just not interested in the same stuff as he was interested in. Yeah, I just think back on Uncle Harold, you know. I had to rescue quite a lot of his stuff that was destined for the skip. But we've still got stuff of his here, and I think I've mentioned this before. If you got stuff from dead men's sheds, then when you use that tool, you remember them, so they stay live in the memory. Yeah, I've got one particular screwdriver that came from a friend of mine, and her husband had died, and this particular screwdriver, when I use it, I remember that sort of time. Yeah, and you can get an understanding of people from their sheds. Yeah, the way they have the long view. Yeah, and Owen and myself, of course, have talked about this before. Yeah, how many spare washing machines? How long should you keep stuff for, etc., etc. So again, tell me what you think about the stuff that I've shown you here, and about the how long should you keep stuff for. I have a view that if you have a box of X item, and this whole thing about putting all the similar stuff in one place, it's only there, and if it's not there, you haven't got it. It may be somewhere else, but because you haven't applied the rule of putting similar stuff in one place, you haven't got it. Yeah? But if you have a box of X and you throw half of it away, you've still got the box, and it's only going to contain X. Yeah? Unless, of course, you put it in a smaller box. So there lies the conundrum. Right, catch up with you soon. Cheers for now.